This is the scene at the Chomshil Indoor Swimming Pool where moments ago the compulsory half of the preliminaries in the men's 10-meter platform were completed. Hello everyone, I'm Greg Lewis along with veteran diving coach and judge Steve McFarland. Now they'll make a total of 10 dives in the preliminaries, 12 of 26. The top 12 of the 26 entered will go on into the finals. How do you see it after this completion of the compulsory portion?
Well, really, no surprises here. We expected a battle between the Chinese, the Soviets, and the Americans, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Well, Greg Louganis having a very good start to the day. Let's go back and take a look at Greg Louganis's first 4 dives, as we called them. Greg Louganis, his first dive, compulsory in the 10-meter platform.
I really like the way Greg starts this dive. That's the coaching staff, O'Brien and Panzano. This is the flying forward 1 1/2 somersault, and everyone in the world knows that Greg's movement is so beautiful and so smooth, and this really accentuates it. See how he shows that straight position and then into a perfect pike, a beautiful lineup, and the only fault really was the dive was a little heavy on the finish.
Awaiting the scores. 7.5 to 8.5, total 42.12 as Louganis starts his march toward a 4th gold medal. Cheers for Greg Louganis as he takes the platform for his second compulsory dive in the men's preliminary 10-meter platform.
And Greg, I had seen Greg do this dive for 10s. It's a beautiful dive. It's the back dive in the pike position, and it's just elegant. Let's see if he can get high scores today. Very nearly. He missed his entry, and I think everyone could see that. You see the 2 coaches there, Panzano and O'Brien, O'Brien being his coach, and there's the patch.
It doesn't look like he's been affected too much by the injury on the springboard.
Greg is tough. He's a tough-minded competitor, and it's very rare that anything bothers him. You see the splash there? That's because he ducks his head slightly and gets a little wash with his legs as he goes in.
Total 43.20. Louganis was 4th after the first round. This is the second round. Greg Louganis, his 3rd dive.
Greg also doing the reverse dive pike at 1.9. This is another dive he can do for 10s.
Coach Ron O'Brien, you sense 10s might be coming on this one?
I sense 8.5, 9s, and I'll tell you why. It's the preliminaries, and I don't know if the judges at this hour, at this time of the contest, are going to be willing to put up the big scores. I love the dive. Really is elegant, graceful touch, straight body, firm alignment. For this dive, that distance was acceptable.
All right, nice dive. That lined up great. Did it? Yeah, real good. Get a nice rip on that.
The score's as high as 9. Greg Louganis, his final dive of the compulsories.
And once again, this is a dive that Greg can do for 10s. He does most of them for 10s, but this especially can be beautiful. You know, Greg has been working on his entries, and you see Coach O'Brien there. Almost every time he talks to Greg on this round, he'll say, did you grab your hand? Did you rip the dive? He did not rip this dive. You saw water going to the right side of your screen, and the reason for that is Greg just didn't line up properly. He gets a little splash off of his chest. Look at this shot. You can see his little bald spot he's working on, and he jumps and it clears the tower, excellent distance. It just under-rotated slightly.
Well, he leaps over the fence and goes back to seek a little tranquility and sanctuary. The scores as high as 8. 6 dives still coming up, though, for him in the optionals. Despite Louganis' success there, he is trailing a man half his age, Zhang Ni of China.
Yet the Chinese youth movement. Remember Chen Xiaodan. What we're seeing here is a young diver who doesn't really have a great deal of international experience, but boy, can he rip his entries, and that's why he is leading Greg at this time. But I think that Greg Louganis is really on cruise control in the preliminaries.
All right, Zhang Ni, a very slender diver. Let's take a look at his best dive from the compulsories, Zhang Ni of China. The third round of preliminaries begins with Zhang Ni.
He's doing the inward 1 1/2 somersault pike. We've seen this dive done quite a bit in the preliminary rounds. It's a favorite dive for a lot of the divers. Watch the Chinese style of pike position. It's very interesting. And that entry is very interesting also. I'm sure Zhang Ni is very pleased with that entry, and the scores certainly will reflect high marks. I would expect at least 8s on this dive. Now watch this. He's right on his toes, tiptoes on the end of that platform. Beautiful tight pike we've been discussing, and look at that.
He is only 14 years old. His score, 51.60. Zhang Ni wants to be in the finals. So here are the standings after 4 rounds. Zhang Ni on top, just 6.5 points ahead of Lou Gaines, but the top 6 separated by only 15 points. The man in 6th position right now, Li Kong Cheng, was the silver medalist from '84. And then here rounding out the field of the top 12. 12 again qualify for the finals. Robert Morgan in the hot seat right now. He is out of Great Britain. So that's the story after the compulsories in the preliminary division. You look at Greg Louganis here, you'll be seeing him again in the optionals.
All right, Greg Lewis, thanks very much. As the games continue.